Mostly Movies, where we mostly discuss movies mostly. I'm your host, Dan Siri. Just got out of work a little bit early. Figured I'd get this video done because it's way too late. And I just been meaning to post it for you guys for some time now. So, quickly, we'll look at the worst films. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2023. Let's start with the bad. We're going to go through 10. I don't even have a top 10 because there was so many bad movies that I couldn't even sit through. Like, I'd watch maybe about a few minutes of it and then I'd have to put on something else because it was so really bad. So the first one we'll start off with is Suitable Flesh. This is an obvious homage to Stuart Gordon, but it just didn't hit the mark for me. You know, those depressing horror movies that don't really go anywhere and they're just kind of bummers. It didn't do it for me. Again, it didn't really have the heart or the sincerity that's missing in most movies today. Number 6 was An Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, which is a urban take on the Frankenstein legend, which features a girl genius who just happens to create a monster. It's her dead brother that comes back to avenge, the people that killed him. It was just awful. Terrible film. 5 is 65. This is a sci-fi movie with Adam Driver hunting down dinosaurs. You'd think a sci-fi movie with dinosaurs would be kind of interesting, but no, this movie was boring. I barely got through it. Then number 4 is Evil Dead Rise. Now, this might be the most disappointing movie on my bad list. Evil Dead Rise is a real shame because it had a lot of potential, had a lot going for it. It just keeps breaking its own rules. It doesn't really quite know what it wants to be. And I think that Evil Dead fans definitely deserve better when you think the remake is about 10 years old. The remake was pretty good. I think they played it too straight. They made it too serious. But this movie just doesn't know what it wants to be. It's very muddled and confused. So the third worst film on my list, another one that's completely also an irresponsible film, would be Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This is a really stupid concept with awful special effects, terrible makeup. There's nothing funny about it. There's nothing interesting about it. It's just a complete waste of space. Number 2, May, December. Okay, artsy crowd. This is a movie that was a darling with critics because, it's Todd, I believe it was Todd Haynes, makes the same kind of movie. Depressing melodramas that the critics love and most normal people watch it and be like, I didn't like this movie. I thought it was very boring, a very strange subject matter too, to use like real people and events. I just didn't make any sense to me. The good performances by Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore are wasted in this movie. And the little kid from Karate Cobra Kai, whatever his name is, he's okay, but the movie's just really a waste of time. Very boring. I'm very sorry I sat through the whole thing. Speaking of very sorry I sat through the whole movie, we'll have to go to the number 1 worst movie of the year, which is Skinamarink. This movie is just pretentious, stupid garbage. There's people defending it, people saying all kinds of great things about it online, and I just don't see it at all. I don't understand that. Okay, let's go to The Ugly. The Ugly, these are movies that are big disappointments. Not so much that they're bad movies, but they really swung for the fences and they just didn't quite make it. So this is The Flash, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and Barbie. These were all movies, I pretty much talked about them already, that I wasn't thrilled with at the time, and now I like them even less. Especially like The Flash, the whole ending of destroying the Keaton-verse. It's like if there's any Batman universe you want to destroy, that's not the one because we have so many ties to it. And it's this whole thing of Hollywood that they're doing now is like they want to destroy the legacy of all that once was good. Because, well, you're not going to like the new stuff because the new stuff is garbage and we can't write or tell a good story. So what we're going to do is ruin all the stuff that you liked from when you grew up. And again, I apologize, I didn't shave for this video. I hadn't planned on making a video, but I just got out of work a little bit early. I figured I'd do this before I start with my reviews that are coming up for Ghostbusters and Dune. Now let's talk about TV, the bad stuff on TV. Mandalorian Season 2, 3. 2 was good, actually. 3, Mando Season 3 was a disaster. This, first of all, the series should have ended with the end of season 2 with Luke Skywalker picking up Grogu. That really should have been the end of this particular series. But they kept it going. They had to bring Baby Yoda back. They had the Book of Boba Fett, all these disappointing shows. And I'm like, well, at least they won't screw up Mando. They found a way with modern stars to screw up everything, but they're never going to screw up Mando, right? Wrong. I mean, there was an episode with Lizzo and Jack Black that was like, I'd rather watch B. Arthur dance with Walrus Man on the holiday special than watch that. I mean, it was just a complete disgrace. And these idiots at Lucasfilm, they think I'm going to pay $16 now to see a Mandalorian movie. They are in such denial. Now, look, I know Star Trek Generations was not that great of a movie, but those last couple of seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation were stellar. And the finale, the season finale of Star Trek The Next Generation is one of the best last episodes of any show, whether you like science fiction or not. So, I mean, it's just a completely bad idea. Why do we want to pay $16 just to see Katie Sackhoff take over and turn it into the ma'am DeLorean? I mean, don't want to see that. That is just boring. It sounds really stupid. Another bad show was Ahsoka, even by Disney caffeine-free diet Star Wars standards. This is weak. It's like the movie Superman Returns. It has all the elements, cool concept, some good music, but it just never comes together. It ignores what Star Wars is. Star Wars is basically a mixture between a samurai movie, a western, and a 1930s movie serial. It's a story, and please forgive me, feminist, it's a story for boys. It's a story about boys becoming men, for boys becoming men. Now, the ladies have plenty of stuff, and they can enjoy Star Wars too, but it's predominantly a boy story. They keep on trying to make it a girl brand, and let me tell you something, 90% of women, maybe 95%, could give a crap about Star Wars and Ahsoka and Grand Admiral Thrawn and all this other ridiculousness. I mean, I'm not even that interested in it. And they just keep trying to make it a lady brand, but women are interested in their own stuff that they like. They're not interested in Star Wars. I'm sorry. You know, maybe a few of them, that's fine. I mean, look, there are men who watch My Little Pony, and I myself watched Rainbow Bright and She-Ra as a kid, and Gem. Recently I was doing a rewatch of Gem, and it holds up pretty good. But Gem was not meant for me. They wanted me to watch G.I. Joe and the Transformers, which I did. But, you know, I'm interested in other things too. But most boys did not watch Gem. Okay? They watched G.I. Joe, they watched the Transformers, and that's just how it is. There's nothing wrong with it. There are things for boys and there are things for girls. And why should we try to make it something it's not? That's what Star Wars keeps doing, and it's going wrong all the time. But let's talk about the good stuff. I did like Picard Season 3 this year. I still felt, though, that the R-rated Star Trek just isn't for me. I feel like they shouldn't have hard swearing or graphic violence in Star Trek. That's not really settling well with me. But the best show of the year by far is Muppets Mayhem, which of course didn't get a second season, #thanks Disney. And I just don't know why. I felt like this is one of the best Muppet projects in years, since probably the Jason Segel film in 2011. The music is great, the characterizations are great, everything is great. So we'll move on to 4K's best 4K of the year, of course, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Second Sight. I didn't get a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays this year, mostly picked things up at thrift stores or library sales, but the prices were pretty good. I was able to get Repulsion for 50 cents, Criterion Blu-ray, 50 cents at the library. So now that we're all on a budget, why bother with 4K and Blu-ray and all this when you can get stuff very cheaply at Goodwill, at thrift stores, at giveaways, you know, or just, I bought most of my movies this year on digital, like even Oppenheimer. I wasn't going to spend $30 on the 4K, not for Oppenheimer. Best reissues of the year. These are old films that I went to see in theaters. Beauty and the Beast was very good on the big screen, again, as part of the Disney 100 celebration. The only good thing to come out of Disney this year was that, because this is the year that Disney, long missing, was declared dead. Their new films were rubbish this year, and their TV shows were garbage. But it was nice to see some reissues this year. I didn't make it to see Coco or Pirates of the Caribbean, but Beauty and the Beast was a great one. I saw Star Trek II at Count Basie with William Shatner doing a Q&A. That was awesome. The presentation was very good, much better than when I saw it at the Paramount Theater in Asbury a couple of years back. Return of the Jedi was good to see again on the big screen. However, I was not happy that it was the special edition once again for the 40th anniversary, and we'll just have to put up with that. But the best by far reissue I saw this year was the State Theater. The New Jersey Symphony played a live orchestra, played along to Empire Strikes Back, which was a great experience. That was definitely an awesome experience. Again, the special edition, but with the live music, it was really a cool experience. So when it comes to the best films of this year, I have some honorable mentions in no particular order. Super Mario Brothers, Saw X, Sound of Freedom, Dionne Warwick, Don't Make Me Over, Creed 3, and Scream 6. These were all movies that I thought were pretty good. Guardians of the Galaxy was originally on this list, and then I watched Guardians 3 again. And I didn't really dig it the second time. I just felt it was a lot of people yelling at each other, and it didn't really make a lot of sense. It was more of a mean-spirited film than I realized when I first saw it. But Scream 6, you guys know how I hated Scream 5. That was my first video on here for mostly movies. Scream 6 was a good movie, probably the best since the part 2 of Scream, I would say. Creed 3 is good. It's nowhere near as good as the second one or the first one, but it's still pretty good. The Dionne Warwick documentary I did like very much. I believe it's on HBO Max. It's worth checking out. Saw 10, it's a Saw movie. It's fun. It's silly, but it's okay. Super Mario Brothers was a really good moment in video game cinema because I feel like they finally cracked the code. Live action is just too awkward. You're much better off doing it as an animated film. And when it comes to Sound of Freedom, I did think this movie was interesting, and it's a very important topic. However, I felt like it was an interesting story, but they told it in a boring way. They weren't edgy enough. They were going for that PG-13, and this is a movie that really needs to be R, that really needs to show the violence and the sadness, and it is a very sad film. And I felt like what I thought was very strange was this year they were pushing it so much. I believe it was Angel Films. I think it was a Christian organization that made the movie. And I felt like, yeah, this is a very important topic, but this is a very disturbing, very sad, upsetting movie. And I felt it was done very heavy-handed. And I feel like this is not a subject that you should really handle in that way. You have to do it a lot better than this. And, I mean, it was okay for what it was, but people were, like, coming out in droves to see it. And I'm like, this movie is such a bummer. It's depressing. But in a little bit here, we're going to come up with the best films. Hang on a second.